Art of Motion exclusive podcast episode. The competition is literally just finished. We just finished watching it. Johnstone wants to do the intro. He's going to do that and then I'll chat. Go.
Loser!
Are you happy with yourself?
I actually am. I've been rehearsing that for at least 15 minutes.
Good. Yes, welcome. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, it's because we've actually really been slacking with YouTube videos. So we thought, why not do this? Put it on YouTube and try and get in on the fact that people are going to be Googling and looking up Art of Motion. So hi. Normally, the video of this podcast goes exclusively on our Patreon, which is called The Workshop. So if you're not a member there, you should be, because they're cool guys and you're not, unless you're one of them. Keelan would normally be here, sitting where Robbie is, but he's on a camping trip with his family. So I'm joined by the two Scotsmen who are down because these guys, not me, unfortunately, have just finished filming a big project that we're working on. Someone's phone isn't muted because you're unprofessional. So Art of Motion was sick.
It was sick. It was so unexpected. It was
very unexpected. There was a lot a lot that was
very
unexpected
as well.
Yeah, I mean, so first things first, took place in
Papyrus.
Papyrus.
I don't know idea what to say it.
Piraeus?
Piraeus.
But that sounds kind of accurate, which is next to Athens in Greece. For a new location, not last year, because there was a pandemic. It took place in Madeira?
Matera, wasn't it?
Matera. We're great.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there.
In Italy. No, I wasn't there. It was good. Didi obviously won. And I think this is the first big competition since COVID, right? Yeah. Nothing really has happened. And I kind of was thinking, the second it got announced, I booked an Airbnb for all of us. And I then couldn't go because my baby's about to explode out of Sarah. And I couldn't really risk being... It wasn't fair to be out of the country. And you guys didn't go because you're just fools.
Yeah. They looked like they had fun.
I know.
They got a 10-day quarantine on return.
Yeah,
so.
but you swap, you spend that 10 days reminiscing about the quarantine.
Well, maybe. I'm going to spend my 10 days.
And also when everything comes back to Wembley for me, it's like if there's that many thousands of people in a stadium watching a football match, ridiculous. And you've been around a few people in Greece, I don't want to say screw the quarantine, but it's the hypocrisy in the UK government. Yeah, but let's not get political. But yeah, part of me thought the comp wouldn't happen because of COVID, but it did, and I'm very glad it did. And it was sick. First competition, as far as I'm aware, to ever happen on a boat or two boats. What did you think about that?
I thought it was sick. I in my head when I heard it was on two boats, I thought there was going to be a different course on each, and maybe the finals were going to be on one. And then
I didn't even think about that.
Just in my head, and then I saw that you could jump between the two boats, and I was like, "That's sick."
Yeah. I didn't know really what to expect, but I was kind of apprehensive. But they definitely picked. To be honest, I prefer the look of that course to the look of the Madeira.
I was just about to say that. I think it was way better.
It was just a bit droppy and big, the other one. It was just platforms.
I just used the space better as well a bit.
Yeah. It's almost like you take a smaller area, a bit like Santorini, where there was a big area, but the rooftops are very tightly knit. So it's like the smallness means that people have to be creative. Whereas the last one was here's a load of platforms. Who's going to souk down one of them?
I think the second boat was a bit cramped by the looks of things.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first boat looked sick.
They probably could have got away with using the second boat as you flip to it and that's your finish point, rather than the finish point is, I guess it's anywhere you want, but for most people it seemed to be the far end of the boat.
Yeah.
Nothing really got thrown on that second boat once they'd done the gap that was whoa. Who corked the gap? Was that Lily?
No, Travis.
No, corked the small gap.
The small one. Yeah.
Was that Lila when she fell down it?
Yeah. No, she done the A-twist.
A-twist.
Oh, you mean the back full?
Back full. There we go. There was a back full. Yeah. That was kind of nothing. It was like that and a few other things that were sick. But apart from that, it was a lot of more techie, flowy stuff.
Yeah. Dee's wall spin was cool.
Wall spin.
Wall spin on the
Yes, yeah, I rate a wall sprint.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love
And
wonderful
I liked Bob Reese's underbar. But we'll go through all of that. But I mean, so negatives of the boat that became very, very, very fucking obvious was the fact that everyone was slipping over.
Yeah.
Like dangerously slippery in places by the
Seemed
looks
like
of it.
all of the surfaces as well, though.
There were
Not
like
just
weird
one.
stains where it looked like you're like, okay, that looks almost like it's not dried. And then there were other areas where people just like, you could see it was like, whoosh, like that, which was pretty fucking a bit scary. But
I don't know if there was like anyone who didn't slip a tiny bit. Like,
least
it looked like
once,
everyone was.
and there
having
were a
trouble with
few
that.
people, like I know Ed specifically had one that just like really kind of, you like catches you off guard.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the landings, though. It was usually the kind of 180s.
It was you land and then you go to step to push away and you
like
just go,
accelerate.
oh, there goes all my momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Cool.
and then Kaya's execution's like, like tick or cross. But as we said, positives, I think there were definitely a lot of them. And the other one was cameramen because as always, fucking, I mean, this has been such a big debate on Instagram, even prior to this competition. I think Daniela Backer said something about it. And then obviously we saw in the qualifiers, that guy got in the way of Travis. We saw in this, was it Lilu wanted to do something and the cameraman was like touching
I think there was,
her.
they went up to do a castaway or something, and because they thought,
Oh, that
they
was
were-
somebody early on. That was,
That was the first. That was the first.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember who that was, but
Was it Hannah?
yeah, it was Hanaho. Is that her name?
yes, it was. Yeah.
And she went up to do. It looked to the cameraman, it looked like she was climbing on top of the platform.
But she did a castaway.
and he just shit himself.
Yeah. And there was that thing, I think it was Lilu was doing like a bit of a
swing through, but
Yeah,
the camera looked really close, even though it was
Yeah.
on a wide angle.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah.
And it was only, to be fair, it was only that specific cameraman in that area, and then the guy that Bob Reese hit with the chair, which was a fucking amazing.
I don't know. Do the cameramen know their runs? Because I feel like
Not like I know from experience of being there in the past, they used to like draw a map. Like they'd have a map of the Santorini course and they draw a line and give it to like the camera team. But that's kind of all you get. It's like, okay, I know they're coming this way, but they don't like. And as you said, cameramen don't know the momentum. So, and to be fair, even a parkour cameraman, it's like Hannah climbing up. You might think she's climbing up, but it's fairly obvious to like hang back just for a second to make sure they're not doing a castaway.
And the thing is that it's like so many good camera people in parkour that
Yeah.
they wouldn't find it hard to
I
find
think
people.
probably, I was thinking about this morning, is that the obvious reason, well, one of the obvious reasons they don't do that is because budget. Because if you were like, okay, we're going to fly in, let's say me, you, like Toby, a few other people who are like pretty experienced with camera gear, we've worked on like bigger things. Because obviously they're carrying like a live streaming rig.
Yeah.
They're either working with the big boy cameras or the like Ronin with a thing. So there's a level of like professionality that has to go with that to ensure that the job gets done. So I guess it's budget, and also like it's like, it's just too much hassle to like get these outsiders in, because Red Bull do have a team, and for the other areas of the event and other Red Bull projects, the camera team are fairly proficient. But it comes to that thing where it's like I'm sure in skateboarding they have similar issues and stuff like that. Pretty wild though. I guess actually even in skateboarding, like you normally, let's say like a street comp, you'll just have a few long lenses on the side. You never really have somebody on the course
Not
going
like
like,
metal, slap banging.
yeah,
on
let's
scopes and
get a
stuff as
wide
well.
angle. And they had a few remote GoPros, which was fine.
They did have a photographer kind of like in the corner.
Yeah. And they did have cable cams, which the first cable cam shot with Hannah was like, they cut to it at weird times. But after that, it did get a lot better. The one thing I have to say, actually, the stream was way better than ever before.
We had one pause.
We had one pause personally, but I don't even think that was related. I think that was just our internet glitching or something. Yeah. Like normally the stream is really fucking bad. And I think, to be honest,
actually,
I think because they were in Athens rather than Santorini, so the remoteness, because Santorini, they used to drive this thing onto the ferry, this huge van, like a streaming broadcasting unit, and park it like around the corner from the event with this big satellite dish on it and like do all of that. Whereas I'm assuming in Athens it's a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, I was basically taking notes throughout the entire comp of each run, so to speak. Do we want to run through it all, or should we just kind of...
What, start to finish?
Yeah, or do we just kind of... I mean, like round one, the thing...
The heats, isn't it?
Yeah, the heats, sorry. They obviously break it into the heat system, which is 3 heats of 6. Men and women are combined, and then they break it out from that point onwards for the finals. Noah obviously made it through. I think they weren't... Some people were saying she was the first woman to get through. Others were saying Lucy had done it prior, which I honestly can't remember what the accurate one is. But one, that was sick. But two, like, They then obviously break it out for the final, so they do judge the women independently, whereas they used to just judge a woman against the men, which was always just fucking harsh. Like, but yeah, I mean, the thing my biggest takeaway from Heat 1 was that the judging, as always, suffers on the first heat. Like, we had Hannah who did. It is Hannah, right?
I thought it was Hanaho, but I'm not sure.
Oh fuck! I'm so fucking bad with names.
Let's look this up.
I'm looking it up. I'm so bad. Hanaho.
Yeah.
She did a really nice run, but it sort of was marred for the viewers by camera issues and stuff like that, which is a shame. But it was Ellis who came second, and obviously Ellis is an exceptional athlete, and I personally expected him to be a little bit blocky in places because I think he's not as connective as like someone like Archie.
Yeah, but it's funny though, because sometimes he does have that connectivity. Online and stuff, but you just don't know how many times he's prepared that.
Exactly, you don't know how many attempts the Instagram clips had.
I had him down on getting through in this heat,
and I wouldn't have been surprised if he had, but it just felt like the judges gave him such a low score. Yeah. But you don't notice that when they give him the score the first time, you go, okay, that's his score.
But then when it gets into the
4 runs later, you go, ooh, that was weirdly low in comparison.
Yeah. I thought like his difficult, like he had a really hard
swing double pre as first move, right?
Yeah, and I can't remember what they gave for like. Let's not pick the scores apart or whatnot.
That was a really nice addition though, that we got to see the breakdown. Of all the things, because it at least meant that like one, you could figure it out a little bit as it came in. You were like, oh, okay. But also it just felt a bit more transparent because there's always been issues in the past where we've been like it was the Josh issue 2 years ago. It was like, why did he not get as high on creativity? Mm-hmm. But now being able to see the comparison was kind of useful to have.
Yeah. Noah came after him, didn't?
No, it was Josh. Josh came after. Obviously, amazing stuff.
Let's do a bit of a slam, didn't it?
It was the slam on the weird gainer 360.
He kind of disguised it with a bit of a roll.
He definitely disguised it, but in slow mo, you can tell. Like you're like, oof, like that was pretty heavy. Once again, I don't think anyone in that round the heat was judged. No, not judged well. It's more just the bat. It's just so fucking hard.
Standard, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like it's really hard to know where his points were and maybe what they would have been if he'd been in a later heat. But I don't think, given his run, he should have gone through, if you know what I mean. Like it wasn't a case of that. I think, to be honest, Ellis was the one that felt a little bit robbed in this heat. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Noah came after this. We were fucking blown away by her run.
Yeah.
So clean. Yeah.
It was like clean, so well connected. The line in the middle where she did like a round off Arabian, Kong out, palm flip up, really surprised by hers. Definitely deserved to be first.
I think it fit the judging criteria well as well.
Yeah,
the way she put it together. Well, there wasn't too much, there wasn't too little, and the things she did like hit home. Like they really
good balance of difficulty and stuff like that. Which I think like I've already sort of seen talk of like whether or not she should have gone through or whether it should have been Ellis and Bob.
Travis, right? We've not gone to yet. So he was 1 point lower than Noah.
Yeah, but this is where I think Ellis personally. I mean, obviously I should be biased towards Travis, but the biggest thing that I noticed was that he did 4 or 5 side flips, which I'm assuming he probably. I know one of them was meant to be a side flip step through into that like double-handed gainer thing he did for down set, which was fucking sick. And obviously he did cork gap on the thing, but it did feel a little bit side flip heavy compared to where like someone like Ellis, for example, he had more range. Which is a real shame because I fucking wish like I'd love to see Travis go through. No discredit to him, but I don't know. I just felt like Ellis probably, in hindsight, when you look at the whole stack, probably should have got a slightly higher score
because there could have been like 2 or 3 different combinations of people going through in that heat,
depending on how they were.
Depending on like their run may not have changed at all, but just depending on how it was judged, like you could have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. It's just hard.
It's always the way we're judging, isn't it? But yeah, and then obviously Bob's was pretty fucking good. Like he did that slightly gimmicky, slidey thing at the start.
I thought that it just put me off. It just threw
so
me
much.
like right at the start of his run. Just
Everything else was
I think we all just went, oh no, like what's he doing? Like, and
little bit,
he
but it
missed
was
his
'cause-
hand on the
Yeah.
thing, and like,
yeah.
And that was one of the only points he actually paused.
He
Like,
knew
all his
he knew
movements were
Jason
more
was
connected.
judging creativity.
but like he could have not done that in his run. He wouldn't have lost anything.
No,
if anything, in my opinion, he would
Mm.
have probably gained something. But very, very. I mean, he's
The
like
underbar, though.
the underbar was
Yeah,
sick.
that was
he
incredible.
did the
I've
like
seen that.
he did the like 360 kind of a 360 front off that platform at the
side
start.
thing. Yeah.
He was deserving to basically to go through in
Yeah, I
first
think
place.
he was. I think he did put together the most comprehensive.
For sure.
run.
Yeah. I think the debate was really just Noah, Travis, or Ellis. I think.
Yeah. But there's arguments for each of them, and this time it was Noah. So
Yeah,
that's,
I would like to foreshadow later on in our talk where Bob, obviously after this, then when talking to Benj, claimed that he had the most creative trick, the most creative trick we have ever seen.
I think he said most creative line. or run.
Yeah. Big
We'll come
words,
back.
big words,
Big statements. Big statements.
big words. Yeah. But yeah, so round 2 was I think where it really felt like the judges found their feet a bit more. Granted, the lineup I think in heat 2 was probably the easiest to pick from when it came to the runs.
Yeah,
Like in kind of hindsight
possibly,
of it.
but yeah, I mean, if Jared Luty had finished his run,
Yes, fuck
and
me.
the first
David.
guy, Davide Rizzi,
Davide, yeah.
I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I mean, both of
that
them-
was a solid run. Like he could have easily gone through.
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
You know,
I think both of those had a solid amount of potential. It was Ed and Christian just took it.
yeah, and both of the girls did really well as well.
the next level.
Miranda's got some power, and Lily just stomped that double cork.
Yeah,
Like nothing.
Miranda's got fucking, she's so strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, David was sick. Like he,
David. I'm sure it's not David.
I'm sorry.
He's Italian. Davide.
Davide. Okay.
I don't know.
He was sick. He seemed, I don't think I've ever met him. He looked like a nice guy, but I said a few slip ups biggest after the back full gap, which I now can't. Oh, he fucking backfalled the gap on the second boat and then fell and like ribbed the block.
Oh yeah.
Which that's the kind of execution that will knock you a bit because it's quite it's like an out of control bail, isn't it?
Yeah. In fast motion, I think it seemed worse than.
Oh, for sure.
When you slow it down, you're like,
wasn't much
yeah, it
impact.
wasn't.
It was more of a
Wasn't
kind
too
of
bad.
Yeah,
Nudge,
yeah. But
and
it was
then
like,
it's
I think it's if the judge can feel that there's like an element of lack of control,
control, yeah.
it's like, oh, he's actually falling rather than like
That's
he's saving that.
overrotated.
Yeah.
I think if he just had more room between that box that he fell into, though, then it wouldn't have even looked sketchy.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean, so yeah, it was just the confinedness of that second
You could
boat.
probably
Yeah.
see the corner coming towards him. Like,
It was oh,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I can't.
Oh, I've got here for Miranda was the one time that we kind of got this like attempt at doing the FPV live stream, which
yeah.
half worked, and then like they just fucked the cutting after that
I got freaked out because I was like, "What?" Like, if I was doing a run and I had an FPV drone, suddenly I would have been like, honestly,
Yeah.
stacked it.
But nah, she was sick, and then yeah, Jared Luty like he did that gate full at the start in that tiny little gap in that
yeah.
tiny
Oh,
thing.
yeah, they
So
that
cool.
was that was really bad.
He was like up until
In
he
the
basically stopped. It was like, okay, he's smashing this, like boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
boom, boom.
So fast.
We've had discussions about where we think he had that shoulder injury.
Because he did the back handspring at the start, right?
I thought
over
it was
that.
the roll.
Yeah, I don't think the back handspring got him. Then he did that 360 dive roll that looked a bit heavy.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Then he
because-
but then he side flipped over that kind of fence, and it looked like he almost clipped it. And then he went to do the pop palm and just stopped, and then was like, "Fuck it, I'll send it," and then stopped.
Yeah. That's a shame though, because it was a really nice run up to that point.
Yeah, straight up, like
Yeah.
it going on to
One of my
Ed
favourites.
next. Personally, if he'd carried on at that momentum without the pause between the
Yeah,
pop palm,
yeah.
could have beaten Ed.
Could have,
because
yeah.
like
Connections were just.
as much as we all love Ed, that was not his strongest competition run.
It wasn't. I felt like usually when I watch Ed, I feel really confident in what he's doing. Like,
Well, and also he looks like he's very confident in every movement. And to be fair, he had a lot of slips. Like he
yeah.
really suffered with slips.
yeah. I see.
But it didn't feel like the course on that run, at least, it didn't feel like the course was right for him. Like,
No,
it
but,
didn't-
I mean, he pulled through.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, put everything together and ended with a nice
Yeah.
cork.
Yeah, yeah. And then Christian obviously just did hit what Christian does best, which was just like he doesn't stop.
Short, but very, very good.
So
Yeah,
compact.
lots of hard
So,
stuff
yeah,
with
yeah.
connectivity, very clean. Sketch gainer pre, and then sketch wall flip.
The gainer
with-
free was.
yeah, the gainer
that
free was
nice
fucked.
though.
And then he immediately then goes to that thing and does the wall flip on the
It's so easy
the
to come
boom.
back
That's
and
it.
hit
Not a beam, it's a boom.
Is that a boom?
I think it's a boom.
I think it's a beam.
Was it a beam?
What
the boom's the bit that actually has a sail attached to it. It might have just been a beam.
I thought a boom was.
No, the boom on a boat is the that bit that turns with the sail. I used to sail, darling.
Yes.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
It's a beam.
And yeah, he went through with a massive high score, which was like 419.
Yeah, he
that-
deserved it though. Like,
completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Like that.
There was nothing to fault.
Yeah. And then obviously Lilu came next. She obviously did that double cork quite near the start. Her line was very long. I feel like she probably just packed a bit too much on
I
there.
think she tried to show the judges everything she could do.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just had to cut out a few things and like make it more concise.
Because when you
Just
watch her
how-
like Tempest runs, where she's like very kind of short, bursty combos, they're super, super impressive.
Yeah,
but it felt a little bit like she was like, "Oh shit, I've got to get all the way over
I
there."
think it's when you watch someone and their energy just fades throughout it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
it's like waiting for them to
and
get
she
to
had the
end.
fucking cameraman.
So at the start, it was just absolutely perfect through, like along that first boat, and then it just started. Yeah, then the cameraman issue, and that
It was
might
the
have
end of
thrown
the
her,
first boat
and you
type
know,
of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been really interesting just to see if they'd just done one boat and then we're like, cool, you can just jump to this platform and finish. Because it would have confined it a little bit more. And yeah, so Christina and Ed went through, which was kind of that felt correct basically.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Heat 3, Mimi, which is Lokim Thea,
Yeah, something like that.
very long name. He was fucking sick.
Yeah.
He was actually so
Energy,
sick.
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
They just had
Overall,
it.
the run was
It was
just
like bam, bam, bam,
it
bam,
was just
bam.
hype.
Oh, he did that like crazy side fall thing where he kind of like got up on that block.
Yeah.
Did like, I thought for a second he got freaked by the cameraman because he hopped up, did like a kind of 180
And, like, little
and then did the side fall like towards the cameraman. And the cameraman once again was then freaking dicks, like
Yeah, he was.
running away. But he was like, if he'd been in Heat 1, for example, it would have been like Bob and him, I reckon.
Well, I think he'd have gone through.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of it.
Oh, of
isn't
course.
it?
Yeah, it's
you
literally
never
just
know what you're going to get. And
luck of the draw.
So
But you know, that was sick.
in the end, though, usually the top 2 or 3 are usually the same, like regardless of.
That's the benefit of the Heat system.
Yeah.
Lisa was sick. It's very, very creative. She had some like cool areas, but once again, a bit like Lilu, where it was a long, like you just,
Yeah, she was having fun though. Like,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
feel
See,
it.
she's
She was,
enjoying it.
yeah.
yeah.
quite like
She did
that.
the like swing gainer variation at the start, where she
Smile on
like
her face.
came off the thing.
I actually really, really liked her run, especially the bit by the boom or beam, whatever we were calling
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
About that area, I really liked that.
Yeah. And then Elise came in with like higher difficulty, but a little bit more like blocky than Lisa. She did the sketchy backflip.
Oh, that's terrifying. Fair play for
Like,
saying
I
that.
would
She
hate
turned
to
out
do
so
that.
fine as
I
well,
would
but
hate to do
I'd
that.
be terrified.
It's like there was a moment where she like just caught her balance, and it was like
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a little-
on like a knife's edge. Of
the
like,
little
it's
step
going
back.
too
looking at the
far.
gap before going, she just goes straight up to it. And
Yeah,
sends it
yeah.
back. Like, that's
To be fair, if you felt yourself going, you're like, well, I'll just double back into the sea. Like, fuck it. I guess it's over. And she side gapped between the boats, which was sick.
Yeah,
without the step up, which obviously made it
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah.
That, I mean, you could see throughout that comp that the gap was changing size as well,
Big time.
which is
No,
pretty
big time.
wild. Because I spoke to Travis about it, because he's obviously done double cork gaps. I think, to be fair, with higher height difference. And I said, like, oh, is that a thing? And he was like, it's just too unpredictable because you don't know what you're going to get, like distance wise. But yeah, that was cool. Dee Dee, classic Dee Dee, basically for
fire.
the start was just like bam, 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 but bit stumbly. Like there were quite a few bounces off of walls.
rotating.
Yeah, which to be fair, we saw that in Matera as well.
Yeah,
But
that was the other controversial moment. Well, not controversial, but it could have gone either way between Dee and
Mimi, yeah. And it's really interesting when like you never really seem to see like 2 point difference. It always seems to be 1 point because it was
yeah.
someone else I think Travis was beaten by 1 point as well.
Yeah, and yeah,
And obviously the judges are all inputting their own scores. So it's not like somebody's going like, fuck it, give them 1 point more to get them through. Like, so Who was the one actually where it was at the start? Do you remember? There was that massive pause after
It was after Noah's run.
after Noah's where like her score started to come up and then they
Super high,
disappeared.
and they went lower.
And then there was a long time where they
Yeah.
were like, hold on, we need to just
And we were like-
check everything.
Yeah, we were like, they're definitely reanalyzing like where, because that's the thing. They set the first couple of runs, set the bar of where if the first person gets difficulty of 60 and then everyone else is worse or better, it throws everything off. Like it's so challenging. But I mean, I don't think there's been any like in this comp. I wouldn't say there's any kind of discredit to the judges or anything like that. I think they did a very good job given all the circumstances. But yeah, Didi, I think like ultimately,
his run was a sick run.
Yeah.
And he did it pretty well.
Yeah.
Enough to get him through just.
And now Shea twin parkour with the arse away, arse away pre.
He's going to be standing on the flight home.
Thing is, right? It looks like it got like heels, well, like arches, and then cheek.
They'd take most of it on the feet.
But imagine if it was just
a
if that was
big
coccyx,
slam
that would break his fucking coccyx,
yeah,
like
yeah.
break your fucking lower back.
It was close though. Like when I watched it, I was like, oh fuck, he wasn't actually that close. But in the slow mo, his feet were on it.
Yeah.
He just needed like another inch.
And it's probably like it's probably not even. There's obviously the factor of how far you pushed away, but also there's just factors of like when you open out. Because if he'd opened out a little bit earlier and got his toes on, he might have fallen short, but at least he would have like
still landed on it.
But fair fucking play for
But done it in
trying.
practice, like pretty clean.
Yeah, this was the thing. We knew it was coming. You didn't know, right?
Well, I'd heard talk. I didn't want to hear talk. I like to experience things as they're unfolding.
Yeah. We saw on
always
Instagram he was
moving.
prepping it.
Yeah.
And I think someone said that, I think it was maybe Bob said that he was going to, no, Jared, maybe someone was like, oh, he's got, maybe, yeah. It was like,
it was one of the interviews with, Davido or something.
and he was just like, there's going to be something horrible coming up.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the rest of his run was
he
like
fucking-
sick. It was
yeah.
jam packed and rapid as well.
If
Like,
I
his
took
connection
that,
was
I'd
perfect.
probably just sit down and cry. Like I'd be like, I think I've just been violated by a
Just
wall.
sprung back up. Violated.
And he just carried on going, which is sick. And he did the Kong Pre.
Yes,
rated
first
that
guy
so
to do the
much.
Kong Pre on the boat.
Yeah, that was sick.
Which once again, the boat moving and the weird, awkward angle and
It's
the
quite a sharp
and the
angle.
fact that everything's slippery,
It's
like,
just so I don't even know why, but it's so fresh to see a Kong Pre in a competition, even though it shouldn't feel.
and it's a legit Kong Pre. It's not like a
Yeah,
little
it was-
like I don't know, just cascading down a platform, like doing a little one.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought more was going to go down between that gap between the two boats. To be fair,
I think just unpredictability,
Yeah.
and the
a
slightly
small
weird
takeoff.
Yeah.
Thin takeoff.
Yeah, exactly. And then Archie, who's talking about thin takeoffs, did the back full on the wall, straight to pop side out.
yeah, that
And I initially thought the wall was the same thickness as that one you were just talking about.
right, okay.
And I was like, oh my God. And then I saw it in the replay.
Still fair play though. Like
He banged the Katahara over the wall.
yeah, that could have been a stumble, but he managed to get that lazy out. so
Yeah.
just
His
straight away.
fast one.
probably, I would say that's the best run of the whole comp. Finals and
overall.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the highest scoring.
Yeah,
as well.
and then he goes up and does the double frisbee with a like pistol grab or whatever it is, which
Yeah.
was sick.
And he rolls out of that quite well.
Yeah. But that was just like top tier. And I mean, to be fair, everyone who I spoke to prior to the comp said like he is looking strong. Like and even in like the Frosty and things were saying like that is his course. Like that is just what he likes.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't see a triple fill though.
Lots of triples being thrown in practice
Thing
on
is,
Instagram.
really, because I didn't see anywhere where it was like that would be a nice place to do a triple
Where
full.
people were doing it, I think where Archie did it in practice was on the first boat. You know the place basically straight to the left of where he did the double frisbee, that platform.
Yeah.
He was doing them that way, going that way.
Okay, yeah.
But I guess it just didn't work out with the direction. Like, and then Archie and Didi go through, which once again I think Archie was a given, and then it was the Mimi Didi debate. It's a shame really because obviously Didi then bailed first move in his thing.
Yeah.
It would have been really interesting to see obviously what Didi was going to do, but also what Mimi and Didi could have done in finals.
Yeah.
I realised actually, just going back to Christian, I did really rate the fact that in his interview, they were like, oh, were you surprised to get through to finals or whatever? And he was like, no. Like he was like, I did everything I wanted. Like he's
He knows.
him and Ed and probably Archie, but we don't see as much like, well, I personally haven't seen as much kind of from Archie in regards to like how he treats competition and things are very like they take that shit seriously and they deliver on it, like, which is sick.
Yeah.
Because some people do competition for a bit of fun, others do it for fun, but also
you could see who was prepared and knew that they were going to get through and were in it for the long run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's always, when it comes to the final, some people actually going on to the finals, Noah felt potentially like she didn't really have much planned.
No.
She still had a lot of fun. She did some cool stuff, but it wasn't like she'd saved some big banger for the final, which some people obviously do. Yeah. Bob Reese specifically. Oh, just to say, actually, Noah's double A's though, consistent in both runs, just fucking amazing.
Like the cleanest tricks of the competition.
Yeah.
Stomped every
She's
time.
just like, I've done 3,000 of these. Like, here you go. Here's one. Bob Reese, most creative.
It was actually when he picked up the chair. You just went, oh, and then 2 seconds later, you were like, oh yes.
I clapped my hands. I literally was like,
when he smacked the camera again.
Smashed the camera. I mean, if it was me, I'd be pissed, but I can't not find it funny. The cameraman getting smacked by a chair. It's just like, it was the psychotic grin on his face when he picks up the chair and then runs across the platform.
Creative.
But he was a weird one because Bob is a fucking monstrous athlete.
Yeah.
And he didn't really seem to have that much in that run. There was a lot in that run, but it didn't, I don't know, like he can do 720 fronts. He can do so many crazy
I think
things.
He was one of the ones who wasn't maybe not expecting to.
Yeah, maybe just had like,
just cared about getting into the final.
There is the tactic of get through to the finals and get a free holiday next year. Like
secure your space.
Yeah. And also, to be fair, he got through, he got through on the online, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And but no, that was it. He put on Instagram the other day that like he used to take it really, really seriously, and now he is there to like have fun and sort of do his bit. So I guess like we were just saying, people such as Christian and Ed, it's like they go there to try and podium. Like it's so evident that is really in their mission. And Bob was probably like, I'll do my shit, and if I podium, great, but also I'm just gonna have fun with it. So
for people like Ed, it's kind of part of his training style as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just in every day.
Yeah. Speaking of Ed, obviously did some lovely stuff at the start, but then side pre slip out was just like, that was because Ed, there was so much, it was like shit. When it came down to those last three, you're like last four, Ed, Didi, Christian and Archie. After seeing like Bob's run, you're just like, okay, he's probably not gonna, unless everyone else flops, he's probably not gonna get up there. So I was like, okay, first to the big guns, like here comes Ed. And so you think that he was doing the side pre and he was going to try and stick it, turn around and then set off for the Congainer, right?
See, I don't think the Congainer was just a chance. But
no, I don't think you can just, unless you're Travis maybe, you're not going to just lob a Congainer with no prep. Like
I think he did look like he was trying to control his speed so that he didn't.
Hence the bum slip out. Yeah.
But that Congainer was very deliberate. It wasn't like, I'm going to save it.
Yeah. And fair play for Congainer off that, because it does look fucking
high.
Where it's like down off that platform 2-3 steps and then into it, which isn't easy.
And on a slippy wall, which they looked like.
That's the thing. If I had that much slippage on, because you saw people's hands slipping and feet, you start to lose faith in the fucking thing in life. I wrote, at this stage, it doesn't feel like he could get first place given what's coming behind him. Oh, he did Kong dive roll over the boat, which was also sick.
That was cool.
Over the gap. Cool. But yeah, I kind of got the feeling on that once again because of the slips. I was just like, unless the next three, who are all undoubtedly potential winners, have serious issues, I don't feel like Ed's run would get him first.
Yeah, it was a good run.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an Ed run, so like
it's a really good run.
That's the thing. Any of those runs are good runs.
Because it just like one little mistake can throw your overall impression off. Yeah. Because everything else about it was like really, really nicely put together and well executed. It was just the side pre and then just that little bit. Maybe that's the overall impression.
It was the vibe of the run off almost.
It is really interesting because you think about like, I know like Noah's one, for example, where we got really like gassed because there were no slip ups. There's no moment where you go like, like that. Whereas you're just like, with Ed or someone, you're like, and then he does the side pre and you're like, oh, because you feel bad for the person. You feel like everything, like, which I guess it does affect it. So he got 401 points. Didi.
405, I think.
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking at 405 and just said 401. Didi then coming in and I'd seen him prep this in practice and I ruined it for you, unfortunately, because I was like, oh shit, he's going to do the inward double side.
I was like, God. It literally looked like what would have happened if I tried it.
It's tragic. Fucking hard impact as well. Like you kind of hit the corner around the floor. Like, but
I mean, doing again the slippy course, trying to do something like that when you
and
such a short curved run up.
The curved run up off a platform, not the because in the past he's done them like off the floor, which I guess probably
run up more. I don't know, 2 or 3 steps.
And I feel like that's going to help if you're going off the floor.
Your trajectory is going up for the start,
and at least you know where you need to get around to again. If you know what I mean. Although I guess going off a higher platform could benefit you, but it's not a nice setup. And I was convinced he slipped. We then watched it numerous times in slow-mo and it didn't look as bad. But when into fast motion, it just felt like his first foot just went like, which is, I mean, any slip on that is going to be enough to throw you off. Oh, fuck. Just can't even imagine trying that.
No.
I mean, I can, but I can imagine landing.
I was watching him going for the run-up after you told me what was about to happen. I was like, no, like that can't happen in that space.
I would have loved to have seen the rest of his run because if he was going in on that like fire like that.
Yeah.
I was super interested with Didi because he's been like a ghost for the entire year. Well, 2 years almost. Like he's posted a bit and there's been kind of some cool stuff about him and he's done adverts for Champion and things, but like he hasn't been like Ed, for example, where it's really felt like since Ed's last competition, it's like, okay, he is training, not specifically for comp, but his with lines like that in mind. Whereas Didi's, I guess if you're in LA, he's just kind of been, and he had a knee injury. He was obviously covered in a lot of tape.
A lot of rehab.
But it was kind of that mysterious, like, shit, what's this guy like? He just had invented some new way
What has he been cooking up?
Some new way to do a triple or something like that. So that was a massive shame. But then it kind of secured that Ed was going to be, at that point, it was like, well, Ed is second or third or first if the other two fuck up, which was fairly unlikely. Christian just has a format for his runs. Like if you think about all the times he's won air whip and competed at air whip and things like this, it is short, sweet, connective is like pretty perfect. Not always the best, but and apparently according to Trosty and things, they were saying like he was just turning up. He knew everything he wanted to do. He was just turning up, chilling, like not training because he just had it all planned. And he's like,
that's sick.
Just confident in what he's going to do. Doesn't have to stress over it.
Yeah, you can watch his runs and just be so comfortable in watching it, like appreciating it and not worried that he's going to slip up or not finish his run quite right or whatever. Like
there was the one thing where he did, was it just like Webster and he was going to, and then Carl Skaner.
Yeah, but I think he was so deliberate in putting his hands on the wall. It looked like he was going to go straight into Congainer, but when you watch his facial expression, he was not.
I think maybe he was hoping to Webster a bit closer to the wall because there was that he kind of landed the Webster and kind of went like that and then stepped closer and then went into cast. So maybe he was hoping to land like the Webster right here.
But even at that, it was still smooth.
Oh, it was still sick. Yeah. But that was the one moment where you were like, you spotted a glitch almost. You're like, But yeah, that was
360
sick.
dive roll.
That was fucking sick.
Yeah,
that was sick.
Yeah, very, very cool. It's a good thing the Mediterranean doesn't really have like a serious tide. It's pretty non-tidal for that area of the world.
That's true.
Because over an hour and a half, you could get some distinct like pull and push. Yeah. I wonder if they had to like slow down the traffic in the port. I don't know if you've ever like sat on a boat in the port and a big boat goes past or pulls out and you get a lot of swell. It's pretty wild. And then Archie was like, once Christian had done his run, he was 4:13, so we knew he was in front of Ed, and it was just like, what is Archie going to pull out the bag? I
was waiting for the triple, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And he repeated the pistol
double frisbee,
which we were talking like, does that? As you said, if you're the judge and you've already seen it once, you're not going to be as excited.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Was one of my questions was if Archie came back and did the exact same run he did in qualifying, would he have scored as many points?
Yeah,
I don't think he would have.
No, sorry, that wasn't me agreeing. That was like exactly.
Yeah, I don't think he would have, and I think he's been marked down for that because I think if you hadn't seen anything he'd done before and he pulled out that was a winning run in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or at least. Yeah.
What was your opinion about? So Archie then came in third. I feel like we had a little bit of chat about the Ed and Archie.
Yeah.
My gut feeling when I'd finished seeing Archie's run thought he was going to go in at second and Ed was going to go third.
Yeah. I was wondering which one of them was going to come first, Archie or Christian.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that Archie was going to be placed lower than Ed.
No, I felt I like my gut feeling was that Christian was still going to be first, but I thought Archie was going to be second.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 points in it, so
I think
really it just comes down
I
to
think that would be good to get cleared up though, is whether like doing the same thing in the same place.
But it's the overall feeling as well.
Yeah, it's the overall feeling.
Yeah.
You don't get as hyped, you don't get as stoked. Do you know what I mean? It's not as
Exactly. I mean, we were saying actually this morning, I was talking about not that this was in one run, because we were watching some of the Matera runs. I can't remember who it was, but like, you know, in like you'd play Tony Hawk's in like skating, and in the comp runs, if you do, let's say like a 720 kickflip, if you do it too many times in the same comp run on the comp things, and I assume this is the same in skateboarding. This is me basing my knowledge off of a fucking game. But you don't, let's say you get 1,000 points for the first one, you don't get as many points for the second one because it's like you're just recycling the move you can already do.
Yeah.
Which I would assume it is the same case for
kind of stop you spamming it
for this kind of thing. Because otherwise, you could just go
but it might have been his knowledge of it as well. Maybe he thought that didn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, otherwise you just learn the hardest move in the world and then just do 5 of them, walk off and be like, cool, I'm done.
Yeah. Do you think the judges got to see them training?
No, typically they don't.
Okay.
Typically they try really hard to like not see anything and also not hear about anything.
I think that's important. Really.
Yeah, because it can really ruin like the...
Yeah, as soon as you told me that Didi was doing a double side, it was already, I'd lost the, like, you know.
You need that
energy.
stoked feeling of just like, oh shit. Like, because it's the like the Castaway, for example, the arse away. Because if we didn't know that was coming, I mean, it's pretty obvious to work out.
You'd be like, well, why is he starting there?
Yeah, I guess if you're a judge, you might think he's just going to do like a pushback thing.
Yeah.
But fuck me, like the expectation as a judge, if you didn't know that was coming, you'd be like, oh my God. So, and I mean, once again, Bob Reese with a chair, that was like, we didn't know that was coming in it.
I think the judges just have to block David Nelms on Instagram.
He did, most of what I saw did come through.
I didn't watch. I started to watch David Numb's story, and it's was just revealing everything about the competition. I was like, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch it actually properly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Live stream.
So, titles or podiums was Lilu best trick, which was sick, double cork.
Yeah.
And second place, Elise third place, and Noah first place, which I think was very, very fair for the girls. No discrepancies there. What I didn't know, or what we didn't know, and we're trying to work out, is whether or not there is a tiered prize money for the girls.
Yeah.
Because I know back a few years ago, but when it used to just be the girls were judged against the men, and then it was like best female. Now I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah.
It should be the exact same.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting thing.
We were actually wondering, coming on to the Stora double money thing.
Yeah, because Lily was obviously wearing...
Lily was on the podium with the...
with Stora,
representing Stora.
So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they sort of do anything there.
Yeah.
Because technically, she was on the podium.
Yeah, she was on the podium.
So maybe even if Red Bull don't give her anything, they'll give up something.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing because I was actually surprised that there wasn't as much Stora as I expected. There were a lot of... Obviously,
there's a lot of Stora in the heats, but they all got kicked out, didn't they? I'm kidding.
No, but there wasn't even like...
There was a
bit, but I kind of... Part of me thought there was going to be like everyone apart from the Red Bull athletes, if you know what I mean. Because Josh Malone, for example, I think he was wearing a bean shirt. I'm not sure what it was, but like he could have got through to the final. He could have podiumed if things had gone right for him. And like, it's not a small feat to turn down double money. So, but yeah. And then male podium, Christian, best trick, which was the cast gainer.
Yeah. Has that been the best trick before?
Maybe.
I feel like both of those things are one of the best tricks.
It wasn't
the best trick in the past.
Yeah, it wasn't the most inventive year for best tricks, if you know what I mean.
It was a very sketchy setup though. There was a lot of kind of
and things. Like if Josh had maybe either landed or got through to another round, he might have thrown something that could have ticked that box.
Yeah. Or Ellis.
And then it wouldn't. Or Ellis.
Or Shea hadn't landed on his arse.
Oh yeah, actually that's a very good point. If Shea hadn't landed on his arse, he probably
definitely would have got.
But can you get best trick if you don't make it to I think you can.
Yeah, because I think Alfred Scott won.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
going through before. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you have to get through to the finals? That's the thing.
I don't know. I mean, it's not the best trick of the final.
Best trick of the whole competition. I mean, to be fair, landing on your arse should probably get that anyway.
Yeah, best trick. He walked away.
Worst trick of the competition, running about with a chair. Best trick of the competition, smashing a cameraman in the face with a chair.
Double whammy.
And yeah, Ed second, Archie third, which we've already had that kind of debate. But I think, like, as we said, I think judging this year was definitely better than previous years. No like massive disgust.
It's just going to change with who's judging it. Like
who's judging it and the heat layout. Right?
Exactly. Like, yeah, the podium. Well, I think the podium that could have been predicted. The Christian, Ed, Archie.
Yeah,
as the top three.
I mean, none of us were betting on it, if you know what I mean. But
no,
we all kind of had our.
We had some underdogs pinned.
Yeah, we had like personal kind of, not even like personal favourites, because actually the person I thought I would rather other people won, but the guy I thought was gonna win didn't. Yeah. But sick competition. I'll be excited to see whether or not it's in Piraeus next. Like the boat thing's a cool novelty as a one-off, but if it was like every year it happens on a boat, it would be like, why the boat?
Yeah,
like you could just do it.
It was a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot better than the last setup.
Next year on a submarine, on a plane, on the fucking wings of a biplane. Aircraft carrier, and then the plane takes off and you have to do a flip off of the plane.
Wasn't there was a time, what was it, like, I don't know, 2012 or something, when they did like loads of different ones around
the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did 5 in 1 year, I think it was.
That was sick.
They did Japan, Brazil, Detroit, London, and somewhere else.
Yeah, that
was
would be
pretty wild.
Brazil, was there one in Brazil?
I think it was Brazil.
Was it?
Or yeah, it was someone like that. I can't remember.
It would be sick though to see some more spaced out throughout the year.
Yeah. Because that was really cool. Because like you had, I think, like, I mean, Jason won some, Marcus, I think, podiumed in some of them, Tim won a couple, or maybe one. Like it really built up this like, and also, I mean, if that was in the same way that I guess Fig were doing it, in the fact that like, if you were competing 5 times a year, you could actually earn a significant, and podiuming most of those times, you could start to live a life as a professional competing athlete, which is pretty much impossible as it is at the moment.
It's funny though to see that like now that the podium, both women's and men's, is like a completely new generation. Like if you like these, they wouldn't be anywhere like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah. And
it's just,
I remember Ed's first emotion. He just turned up at the qualifiers and like was super surprised. Well, not surprised, but it was like, oh shit, like Ed's got through kind of thing. And then everyone was rooting for him and he did pretty well. And now it's like, now he's a household name in terms of comps.
Yeah.
Which is sick. But yeah, that is mad because it's like you look at sort of Shay and...
What's sick, I think, is like the rivalry between Ed and Christian, because it's every single competition. It's like first and second.
Yeah. Mate, Airwhip, it's been that and things.
Yeah. I wonder if that's ever going to like...
What, they're going to fucking knock each other out?
Going, yeah.
Who would win?
A paid fight.
Who would win? Yeah, we could do a MMA.
Mate, Ed's a condensed man.
He's a compact little guy.
I don't think you could push him over.
But Christian's not small either.
He's flowy. He would like drift.
He'd like capoeira away. Ed would just fucking run him down. Like, that'd be sick. Yeah, wait, let's just look through this. Who would win out of an entire fight? Like round Heat 1.
I think Bob would.
Heat 1. Bob's a big guy.
He'd grab a chair.
But I reckon Travis would have a couple of Stellas and just fucking batter someone.
Yeah, he's got that.
Ellis might have a rage. Ellis might have a rage streak.
Yeah.
And Noah might just like be some just nutter, like fucking martial art Kill Bill style. Round 2. Oh, that's Ed and Christian. Yeah, okay, well that settles that. Round 3.
Are we still talking about who'd win in a fight?
Yeah, literally. Okay. Who would beat the shit out of somebody else? Elise would fucking have them all. She's from up north.
Yeah, mate, she would actually.
She's northern.
Dean looks angry a lot of the time.
Nah, but he's a big softie. Trust me, Elise is northern. That is an ultimate. Just like she'd eat a fucking pie and just like take a pool cue to someone. Anyway, that's enough fun. I mean, that's kind of it, really. I think to be honest, it was a really good event. Like,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. And this is still recording, which is good. Hopefully the audio hasn't gone out of sync, because the last few times we filmed this, by the end of it, because it's a long clip and this is a long audio.
All right.
By the end of it, it's like, like that. But if you've enjoyed watching us, which personally I don't really understand why people watch podcasts. Like if you actively watch the Joe Rogan podcast, apart from clips of like Elon Musk smoking weed, I don't really get it. I don't want to waste an hour of my life watching two people sit at a table. But you just have, if you're here. So
3 of us.
we've been really, really slacking with the podcast, but we've got plans to crack out a few before the baby arrives, and I'm probably going to be out of the picture. This is the thing I really don't know.
Depends when the baby arrives.
But also I've had this conversation kind of to death with you guys and other people. It's just like, some people say it takes over, like flips your entire life and you have no time, and other people are like, no, it's manageable.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you can talk shit with the baby in your hand.
You just hear a little gurgling. And but yeah, we're going to film and record a load more of these. And if you've never listened to this, then check us out on iTunes or Spotify or my favorite podcast app, which is called Air with an A, an I, and a double R. It's really good because you can clip sound bites. So I could say something really wise, like water is wet, and you can clip it.
No, it's not.
But you can clip it and it saves that soundbite. So if you're listening to like a good podcast, it's the only podcast app that you can do it. It's really cool. And if you want to watch this normally, then go sign up to the workshop, the Patreon, which also we've been a little bit slacking with, but the Discord there is sick. We talk about loads of stuff, and oh my God, I got them to ask a load of questions and we haven't answered them. So here we go.
Quick.
Questions from the workshop members. Oh my God, there's loads now.
Really? Was it based on the art of motion, or was it just
okay.
questions?
Okay, so we've covered the debate about cameramen. That's fine. We've done that. Do we have any ideas for other comp formats? I mean, personally, just a fight.
Just a fight.
After party followed by a fight would be the one. To be honest, I think a lot of the comp formats have been, not all of them have been done, but...
Yeah. I mean, that other one in Al Angeles or something in Spain. That was weird.
That was a bit naff, personally.
At least people are trying.
It was like lob a big trick while sprinting. Yeah. What's the one that I'm going to miss this year again, because I missed it the other time, in Holland?
On the spot.
On the spot. That's a sick format. Very different style, obviously, but really, really cool. And obviously speed and skill, which like you love.
Remind me of Own the Spot again.
You go to the event, and over the course of a couple of days, you are set. Was it areas or challenge? It was like
different challenges.
Go to this area, and like the best clip, you have to go and you have to capture your best clip or line or move in that area. So there'll be like, because it was in Holland, it was like
his best fail and best trick. And most creative.
So it was like there was like a church spot, and you basically had like a couple of days to just spread out around the city and train. And then you submitted all your clips, and then people won prizes.
That's sick.
So very informal, but also like pushes you to do sick stuff.
Yeah.
And they did a speed comp at that event as well, I think.
Yeah.
But I think the real takeaway was the other format, which seemed to work really well.
Urban speed comps. I'd like to see more of them.
Yeah, true.
Sick.
Proper sports.
What do you guys look for in a run? I feel like people neglect flow. This is from Joshua Stelui. Mm-hmm. People neglect flow a lot and go for the biggest tricks.
Yeah.
He then said I've never seen a Keelan run in art of motion.
I think Keelan would do so well.
Keelan could, like, if he planned his run perfectly and it all went well, could do very, very well.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the most difficult, but he can. I mean, he can double and stuff. So like,
sure.
I guess because the style that you've sort of said a Keelan run is fairly new in the last couple of years. There's really like found its feet anyway, and also like I think there is just a tried and tested comp format that does tick boxes for all the judges, and therefore people do play into that.
But you just have to look at the top 3 to see that. Yeah. It's about connectivity and flow and the overall impression.
Imagine just melding all 3 of those top runs together to create like the best, like that. I don't know how.
A mega run.
Yeah. If you just took all the best bits, like all the highest scoring areas, and kind of made them into a thing. Is there anything you have to do to compete, like drink, hold, or wear Red Bull stuff? No.
Although they're all brief though afterwards, aren't they? Like to drink a Red Bull.
Well, you're given a can or a bottle of water, but you can opt. Like what's really interesting is if you ever work on a Red Bull shoot as a cameraman or anything, there is a certain, or if you ever see a brief for like a Red Bull project, there is a certain amount of like brand awareness that they want to get in there, but actually they like to keep it. They get like one can shot and like a bit of branding, but they don't want you wearing like a Red Bull hat. Like they don't want everything, and they don't want people just like chugging constantly. And you see it a lot where people are like, "Oh shit, I want to get sponsored by Red Bull. I'm going to do flips with a Red Bull can. I'm going to drink a Red Bull can loads." And it's like, you know that's lame, we know that's lame, and therefore Red Bull know that's lame. Like they want that kind of slightly more, because the can's so fucking distinctive, the branding's so distinctive, like it can be fairly subtle while still being obvious. So no one's like forced to do anything like that, really.
Red Bull athletes might be.
They've got requirements in regards to like wearing a certain amount. If they're on like a project and things, it's like they're expected to wear like one item and things. Thoughts on DD send? I think it was valid. Like he's done that move a number of times in the past. He'd done it, I assume, in practice, or at least got close.
Yeah.
He does seem like the Sendy type.
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, yeah, I guess a bit, because in like the Katahara he did in Matura was pretty fucking lobby. Like it's pretty sick. Side to Katahara.
He certainly tosses the coin.
Yeah. He does put his eggs in a basket of like, if I fuck this up, it could blow the comp. And unfortunately this time it did.
It didn't, because he's back next year.
True. Yeah, he's got a free holiday.
Yeah.
Depends how you see it.
Can we talk about DD's execution score in that first round? To be honest, I can't remember what the score was.
I can't remember what it was.
It might have been.
I think it must have been
the execution. I assume it was higher than, because he had some quite, like, compared to some of the guys who like Archie's Katahara over the wall, where like you said, like he could have kind of bailed it, but he saved it. Some of DD's were quite like he sort of fell.
To be fair, he does fall aesthetically.
But he fell into like the fence.
The fence, the rope fence type of thing.
Yeah.
There's a few like that where he was just like, bang.
I think stuff like that should be judged a bit more harshly, personally.
Yeah. I guess that was Jared Abbott was asking that.
Didn't have
If that was the case, Mimi would have got through, and he executed his like perfectly.
Yeah.
It's like I find it so much nicer just to watch a perfectly executed run that's a bit less difficult than.
For sure.
I think everyone's on the same boat with that, but
Yeah.
I don't.
Opinion on the set and layout of the comp. This is Jared Abbott again. I personally, he said, I feel like it was a little bit empty and bare, and the crowd was far away.
Yeah, I think.
Red Bull don't care about the spectators there. They do like an amount. If you think about Santorini, if anyone's ever been, the spectating viewing point, unless you queue up at 9 a.m. and sit on the fucking wall looking at the course, you basically can't see anything. What they care about is the camera angles and the location, because that's what there's like 1,000 people watching and then hundreds of thousands watching online. They care about that. So it's like from as a spectator's point of view, it looked like from 500 meters away watching a boat, it probably wasn't that great. And there's a screen, but like you're then watching the equivalent of what we're watching sat in a chair here.
Just for those who didn't know, Kai was also flying the FPV drone and judging at the same time.
I know, exceptional flying from Kai on the FPV. I have to say.
It was a bit wiggly wobbly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, but
no, we assume it wasn't Kai, given that Kai is now like master FPV. I'd love to know who it was, to be honest. And also, were they just swapping battery? Because those things last minutes.
I know, it didn't look like it.
And how were they landing?
Yeah, I was really hoping the whole time it was just going to crash into like a cable or a wire.
Or a live stream plunging into the ocean. Like, yeah. Look at that. We're approaching an hour. We're going to wrap this up. But that was the Patreon questions. But yeah, thank you very much for getting involved. And I hope if you haven't watched the competition, go and watch it and show your support. And
hopefully we haven't ruined anything for you.
Like and subscribe. Yeah, actually, should have put.
You don't need to watch it anymore.
Should have put that at the start, really. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. And we are trying to get more consistent YouTube content. It's just the guys we're working on bigger and better things. So, but we'll get back on it. Once Johnstone and Robbie get back to Scotland, that's all they're doing, because they don't do anything else.
Excuse me.
Apart from clutter my house.
He threw out my soya milk this morning. I was absolutely raging.
I'm not even going to. We're not even going to go into it. We're not going to go into it. Johnston did a backflip in our spare
weren't going into it. He can't stop himself.
This man. He's taking liberties.
Thank you for listening. Love you lots. Goodbye.